Hi kids, Terry here. It's quite late at night. I wanted to do a quick video covering the subject of staying afloat as a YouTuber. I'm going to try and keep this really short. Mainly, I, as you know, have been trying to do whatever I can to get to that lucky number of 1,000 subscribers. But even then, if I get 1,000 subscribers, that still doesn't mean my videos will be monetized, because I've got to satisfy their other requirement, which is something like 4,000 watch hours, which takes a very long time to get to that point. And I'm only at about halfway. So I don't think I'm going to be monetized for a long time. Unfortunately, that means to do videos that include, editing and research, and even like the interviews, like I've done with Paul Mount and Richard Dursley and who did I do recently? Philip Roy. They take a lot of time out of my day. Not just the 2 or 3 hours to get the guys over and record, the editing and uploading and all that as well. I love YouTube. I don't have a TV license. I don't watch live TV. I just watch YouTube. That's my source of entertainment. And I love all the people I've found, all the different YouTubers over the years, all the different creative channels and the funny stuff and everything else. And I'd love to be able to do that for a living. But it's becoming apparent that may not be possible. I don't want to give up YouTube. I've been doing this solidly for a very long time. This current channel has been running since 2020, but before that I was running for about 5 or 6 years with a different channel which doesn't exist anymore. But the problem is I don't earn enough money to do this much longer. It's a bit scary. I want to keep doing this kind of thing, and I'd like nothing better than to be one of those YouTubers that is able to do this full time, doing whatever it is I do. I think that's probably my biggest problem. I don't have a niche that I do. I do a little bit of everything. It's sci-fi stuff, but it changes every week, as you know. But in the meantime, I did I put in my links, and I put in some of my social media, a link to ko-fi.com, which is the whole virtual buy me a coffee type thing, which is a little bit of kind of like monetary donations to help things along. And the way it goes is like, if you saw me in real life, would you be happy to buy me a coffee for the price of £3? If so, make a little donation, helps keep the lights on. And in my case, it literally helps keep the ring light on, because I am a self-employed artist. I do voiceover work, and I occasionally make little pieces of artwork, props, that kind of things to sell. But I don't claim benefits. I don't claim a single benefit. I used to claim working tax credit, which is a British thing, which turned into universal credit, which has nothing to do with universal basic income, I wish. But that's all stopped. I'm not eligible to get any government welfare or assistance or benefits or anything like that. Everything I do that I have to pay for, my rent, my bills, taxes, accountant, making films, everything I do comes out of me either drawing, doing voiceovers, or building stuff and selling things. And it doesn't pay a lot, unfortunately. I'm one of many millions of creatives in the country, and indeed around the world, who know that you're going to starve if you're an artist. There's a reason that the cliched starving artist exists, because artists, musicians are not really seen as something that's valuable, not unless you're in the upper echelons of superstardom, like the artists of the day, and the musicians that are popular, and the movie makers and all that stuff. Us guys and girls and everyone else on the street level are basically the starving artists, and it's difficult. So I set up this coffee thing in the hope that, if you're in the position to be able to fling me £1 or £2, yes, some people hate it, and I've seen some people say some very horrible things to other people with coffee accounts, saying it's begging, and to a certain extent it is, but then isn't anything. It's basically when you go to your job, you're begging your boss for money in return for stuff you can do for them. And I'm trying to do provide some kind of value with entertainment at the very least. But if you're not in agreement, or you're not in a position, because money is very tight for everyone around the world, with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and no sign of universal basic income in the near future, what are we going to do? But then it's fine, you don't have to contribute. But I will say, I've had a couple of contributions, not big ones, but then I'm not asking for big contributions. I'm not going to name names, but generally, people I don't know in real life have said, here, have a couple of quid in the coffee account, because it's obviously a vote of confidence that they want to see me keep doing what I'm doing. And goodness me, it really does help. I'm not spending that money on drinks. I don't drink anymore, no alcohol. I'm not spending that money on going partying. The one person who donated said, go to the cinema. And I'm like, no, it's going on my electricity bill, which keeps me afloat. It's going on my phone, which my phone doubles up as my internet. I use my phone plan to power my internet, and that's how I keep working. So it's much appreciated. I'm not frittering away the money. I'm certainly not getting enough to make a film, and I'm getting worried that I may not be able to do Off-World Survivors unless I bite the bullet and try to set up a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding type thing. But I'm going to wait till after Christmas and see if that's even possible. I hope it is. Yes, it's my fault for having a skill set that, while people like artwork and voiceovers and creative stuff and even silly entertaining stuff, not many people want to pay for it. Unfortunately, if I was a plumber or a bricklayer, or something like that, I'd probably get paid slightly more than I'm getting paid now. Unfortunately, I'm one of those creative types, and all I can do is think about art, design, drawing, creating, writing, that kind of stuff. I know. So I basically want to end this up by saying thank you to anyone who's considered making a donation on the Ko-fi account, because one day I'd like to be one of these YouTubers who says, now a word from our sponsor, and you're the usual, the shoes and the drinks and the other things that people get sponsored by in order to keep their channel up and running. I don't mind that kind of thing. Unfortunately, no one wants to sponsor me. So the closest we can get to is hope that one day we'll get enough subscribers to monetize our videos, which for me, like I said, will be a long way off, if at all. Or you find another way of doing, promoting your work through videos like I do, and also things like coffee. And there's another one called Buy Me a Coffee, and there's one's called coffee.com. Yeah, there's things like that anyway. So yeah, I mean, like I say, if you like what I do and you're willing to fling me a quid here and there, that would be fantastic and awesome. And obviously it's going to keeping this channel going and keeping me afloat and keeping me reasonably sane, for better or for worse. But if you can't, that's fine. That's totally fine. Like I say, I'm not forcing anyone, I'm not conning anyone, and I'm not begging anyone. I'm just saying I'm thankful for all your support. The number of subscribers now currently at 571. I'm really amazed at how well the channel's going so far, which doesn't sound like a lot to most people, but it's a lot to me, and it means a lot to me. And as such, I always try to answer all your comments and stuff, any comments on videos in person. And the only ones obviously I don't answer are people who are generally not very nice people, and their comments never show up anyway. So like I always say, be nice, play nice, keep it nice, and we'll all have some fun here, because the world is full of horrible, edgy, nasty stuff, and we don't need that in certain places. And this channel is not the place to start arguments and fights, so take it elsewhere. That's all I'm saying. I'm not stopping you from saying stuff, just don't say it here. My channel, my rules. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.